Everybody, another really quick note about Uber. There are a few things that I get asked a lot by people when I'm driving them from point A to point B, and there are also some things that I wish I had thought of or knew what was going on before I actually got started. One, they always ask you when you started, how do you like it? What are your war stories? So have that prepared. Because you're going to hear that a lot. There are the things that I wish I knew, and they ask me, they'll ask me questions like, hey, I've always thought about doing it, and then XYZ. Before you get started, you think that you can just deliver from point A to point B, but what you don't know and it's on both Uber and Lyft, is where point B is going to be. So if point A is close to your house, point B may be an hour and a half away. For some reason, Uber will tell you sometimes if it's more than 45 minutes, and sometimes they won't. I picked up a lady once who was not an American and was clearly not sure what she was doing. She wanted to go to the mall and shop, which is certainly fine. And I was happy to do that. There was one pretty close, but she picked a mall that was 3 states away. Hold on. Sorry, I just accepted another delivery. So she picked a mall that was 3 states away, which would have been like an 8-hour drive. And Uber didn't warn me. She couldn't figure out how to get stuff right on her phone. And you know what? We ended up just canceling the trip, and I just drove her on my own dime. And that's fine. I've given a good number of free rides to second passengers, to passengers who have completed their trip, and they were on their friends sent them on their trip, and I completed it, and then they all of a sudden needed to go somewhere else, and then this was just another one. So it happens. So be prepared for that too. People don't always use the app correctly. But anyway, so some of the things I wish I'd known is you don't know where point B is going to be on any of these. You always know where point A is going to be. So you are going to end up in some places that you are not familiar with. And if you end up 45 minutes away, it is not cost effective to drive all the way back to your home base to start over again. That is just a waste of time and money. Another thing I wish I had started immediately doing was tracking my mileage. I didn't do that immediately. On these apps, it'll tell you how far your trip is from point A to point B, but it doesn't tell you how much you drove to get to point A. So you're missing out, and that's all tax deductible. I mean, you need to work that on your taxes every year so you can get that deduction, because Uber and Lyft don't take taxes out of what you get, so you're going to get taxed on it at the end of the year. The tax man's going to want their piece. What else? Give me a minute. Let me think about some other things that I wish I had known. Stay tuned. Sorry, I had to knock out that delivery real quick. So a few things to think about before you get started, continuing on that subject. You're going to deal with a lot of different personalities with this gig. Some people are happy and very jovial and friendly and talkative, and if you're not a talkative person, this probably isn't a good gig for you. That being said, not everybody's going to want to chit chat, and you need to be cool with that too. You deal with some kind of rough people sometimes. I've picked up people at the hospital who clearly are not having a good day, either directly or maybe to a family member. They don't want to talk. They're usually really upset or really tired. They might have been pulled an all-nighter. You're going to deal with your spectrum of drunks. Especially if you're doing the late night, that's unavoidable. And so you have your friendly drunks, which are fine. You have your drunks who are a little more aggressive. Maybe some that are making inappropriate comments, loud, obnoxious. You're going to have your spillers. People are going to spill stuff in your car. Just letting you know, it's going to happen. And that's just, you need to accept these are things that you're going to have to deal with. You're going to sorry. And some people aren't going to be very nice to you. This is a service industry, and you're providing a service. But some people are going to look down on you because, well, really for no good reason. There's no good reason to look down on another human being, and especially one who's out there working, trying to make ends meet, or doing whatever, for whatever reason they're doing it. Maybe they're doing it for extra vacation money. Maybe they're doing it because they don't like being at home by themselves. Maybe they're doing it because they like talking to other people. Maybe they're doing it because they're trying to send their kid to college, like me. Who knows why they're doing it, but they're doing it. And they could be sitting on a corner asking for money, or begging for money, or you know, just having their hand out every other imaginable way. They could be stealing and robbing, and I know those are basically the same things, but no, maybe not. I don't know. There's probably a technical difference somewhere in there, but you know, all those horrible things that they could be doing. And what are they doing? They're driving you around, providing you a service, trying to help you out, trying to keep the roads safer. Man, I worked New Year's Eve, and I was really busy that night, and there were a ton of Lyft and Uber drivers out there, and I kept thinking to myself, this is awesome. Think about how many drunk people aren't driving tonight. And you know what? I didn't see that many drunk people. It was great. So I was really impressed with that. So not everybody's gonna be very nice to you. I've had my share of mean drunks in the back seat, and I did not care for it. Another thing, I guess I was just naive about, because I never really worked tables or in the service industry at all. Well, I work in the service industry, but I never like waited tables or ran a bar or anything like that. The tips are not frequent. I think I'm doing pretty good if I'm getting 20-25%. And I say really good. That's what I see about average. 20-25% of everything I do will have a tip attached to it. Some people are really generous tippers, and some people only tip $1. And I know it's hard to see, like, oh man, I did all that and you just tipped me $1. At least they tipped you. That's really nice. They didn't have to do that. And you should think about the other 75% of people who don't tip no matter what. I've carried groceries, delivered to 3rd and 4th story apartments, just went out of my way. No tip, no thumbs up, no 5 stars, none of that stuff. And it is what it is. I mean, some people aren't going to tip. Now, the theory out there is, if you give your passengers waters and mints and gums and things like that to try to make them really enjoy their experience, that they're gonna probably be good tippers and give you thumbs up and 5 stars and stuff. It's not true. It's not. I wish it was. But you can easily spend $10 on water, handing it out at night on a busy night, and not see that return, that increase in your tips. Now, it seems like those people who are enjoying your service, they're going to, hopefully, the ones who are actually going to tip you and going to give you a thumbs up, if you give them a good service, they're going to do it no matter what. Just like when you go to a door and somebody already has cash in their hands, they're gonna tip you because you've already made it there with an acceptable time period. Maybe you let them know that you're on your way, or if you ran into traffic or something like that. I always do that. It's free, it's easy, and it kind of sets expectations for your ride. But doing the extra, spending the money to do that, does not increase your tips enough to make up for what you're going to spend. So that's what I have found to be true. I've done the whole mints and gum and water thing, and I do think people appreciate it, and that's all well and good. But at the end of the day, I'm out here to try to make a few extra bucks, and I did not see a return on that investment. So I didn't see an increase in my 5 stars or my thumbs up, or or an increase in my tips. So that's something you should note. I'm not saying maybe that's just in my area. I don't know. That's it. I mean, that's the main stuff. So to recap, you don't know where you're going to end up. So you know that's going to happen. You might end up really far away from home, and if you're trying to optimize your time, you're going to get stuck out there. I live in the suburbs, so I do a lot of rides to the city because that's where all the bars are and some of the nicer restaurants, and I do lots of trips back and forth to the airport. Neither of those are close to my home. So if I'm not out there and able to get another ride that gets me closer to home at some point, I'm going to be out all that time and gas money. And that's just the nature of the beast, because you don't know. You don't get to pick and choose. Now, both Lyft and Uber will let you do something where you can set your destination, and allegedly they will send you a ride if they're also going in that same direction. Out of all the times I've done it, it's only worked once. So, I mean, don't bet on that happening every night. And maybe that's just my neck of the woods where that doesn't work. Maybe it works in your city, but I can't hang my head on that. People aren't always going to be nice to you. You're not going to see great tips. This is just a steady job. The advantage of this is completely working at your own hours. You can literally stop whenever you want to. And if you like people, it's not a bad gig. My 2 cents. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Probably tired of me saying that, but I really need the subs, so I really do appreciate it. And then check out my other videos. There's some ones on some Cash Apps. There's some ones that I do. There are some apps that I use while I'm doing Uber Eats that make me extra money. There's one I like a lot called Job Spotter. It's probably my favorite one. But check out my other videos. It ain't bad. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.